Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now because this is not the show for you. Now, what I'm going to talk about is something that may not be well received because of the history between two groups of people. One group is the police. The other group are African Americans or Black Americans, whatever you want to call yourselves, you dig? The reason I'm doing this, man, because I don't want to have another incident where that lady, I think her name was Sonia Massey or whatever it is. I don't want to see no more of that. I know I can't stop that. I know, there's probably going to be some more in the future, but I want to try to make a video of understanding and enlightenment that could possibly bring about change in our interactions with each other, from the law enforcement to the Black people. And like I say, I know it may not be well received. I know there's a lot of anger in my community towards the police, and I understand it because I've had run-ins with them too. I've, of course, when I was doing the wrong things, when they got me, and I earned it. It was a consequence. But when I wasn't doing bad things in my life, I still have been a victim of harassment from the police myself, especially down south, down here in Texas. But my main thing is to try to show that that we need more of a coming together, that all police are not bad, but there are a few police that are, in my most humble opinion. And people might get upset at the fact that I've said that in this reaction video, but let me say this right here. Whenever they say that all Black men are drug dealers and, gangsters and all these other things, they're talking about a specific small percentage of Black men in the Black community, a very small subculture of those type of men, okay? That does not mean that all of us are like that. So that's the way I would like for you to approach today's information, is that everybody's not the same. It's wrong to make a blanket statement about everybody. And I'm an ex-military man. Not all ex-military people or all military people are bad people either, just like I do not believe that all police are bad people, but there is a percentage that outshines them for some reason. Now let's get started into this reaction video. Give me a second as I pull it on your screen, y'all. All right, I gotta cut the music down because he's gonna talk kind of low. All right, let's get it.
So I, a Black man, am eager yet anxious to be joined by the Petaluma Police Department for the first time with a live audience of lieutenants, officers, and administration. If you were wondering, Emmanuel, why Petaluma? There isn't a notorious Black violence with white police officers. And to that I simply submit, we weren't talking about Kenosha until after Jacob Blake was shot. We weren't talking about Wolf City, Texas until after Jonathan Price lost his life to a man in uniform. I fervently believe that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Gentlemen.
Exactly. We need to have these type of conversations in our communities with police officers so we can understand what the disconnect is. A lot of police officers don't see us as people. They see us as a job, statistics and stuff like that. And I believe that. And some of us on my side in the community, we don't see policemen as good people sometimes. We only see them as people who are harassing us. We call them haters, 5-0 and stuff like that. So on both sides, there are negative stigmas that follow both groups, and there are negative opinions of each other. And we have to have the dialogue to try to diffuse this. Now, before I go any further and play this video, I don't want to keep hearing about policemen need training. Training on how to not take a Black person's life. That is BS. Because I don't have to have training to know how to not take a policeman's life. People in the streets don't have to have training to understand that they should not be ending people's lives who are on law enforcement. That is something I am sick of hearing about, because the people who are doing these things, in my most humble opinion, they are just corrupt people who don't have any value. They don't value life. Okay, so miss me with all that. Oh, someone lost their life today. Oh, you know how we're going to fix that? We're going to give policemen more training. You have to actually, do you really think that I'm going to accept the person telling me that the way to keep the law enforcement from taking the lives of innocent people is to teach them not to do it? Shouldn't they already have that together in their mind before they put on the badge? So I'm not bashing the police, but I am bashing that stupidity. That don't make no sense to me. But let's keep going.
How are you?
Good. Great. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now, let's get uncomfortable. Ryan, when was the last time you had Black people over at your house for dinner?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. And I'd ask you the same question. Well, when was the last time you sat down just to have a conversation with a group of black people, Garrett?
I can be honest with you, I don't know that I've ever had a conversation with a group of black people.
Yeah, I would say that proximity breeds care and distance breeds fear. Proximity breeds care and distance breeds fear. And I think one of the issues in our society is there's not enough proximity between people who don't look like each other. And because there's not enough proximity, there's a lack of care or lack of empathy. And there is a heightened amount of fear. When
I agree with that. It would be harder for anyone to take the life of anybody else if they actually had a genuine connection to. It would be harder for me to take the life of, for example, and this is for educational purposes. I'm not trying to make people feel like they need to go do anything, but it would be harder for me to take the life of a person of a different ethnic group if they were someone that I called my friend, someone that I could sit down, have a beer with, drink with, share some laughs, you know what I mean, have a good time with each other because I'm bonding with that person. And once I bond with that one person from a different ethnic group, it makes it easier for me to bond with other people of that same ethnic group, even people who I'm not even interacting with. Just the fact that they look like, let's say, a white guy. Say I have a white friend, and I'm going out with these white people. We having a good time, me and my white buddy, right? Just because I have one white friend, it will make me see other white people as human because I am interacting with this one white friend as a human being with another human being enjoying each other. Now, if I never interact with people from different ethnic groups, then I won't have that same connection. I can only understand that they are breathing human beings, but I won't have that type of emotional, attachment. That's how I think some of these people are. So I think it's needed for blacks and whites and people from different ethnic groups or who are wearing the badge to come into the communities of black people and talk to black people, get to know black people. They do have little programs like that, but I think they need to really push it more. And black people have to stop being so afraid of cops too. Because even I feel like that too. I get a cop behind me and I'm driving like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we got to stop that. We got to actually have an open mind and understand that every life that was taken by those corrupt cops is not a reflection of all cops. Just like we need everyone to understand that every person that sells drugs in the black community is not a reflection of all black people in the community. There's always going to be a certain percentage of bad apples that get all the shine. There's an old saying that says the squeakiest wheel gets the most oil. So the weakest links, the ones who make the most noise get all the attention. Look at what is happening with the American black women. There's a remnant of very few good traditional black women. A few. But they don't get credit at all. They are not recognized. They are called pick-me's or whatever just to keep them looking bad. But the ones that actually get all the attention are the women who act like whores, the women who pop their coochie and do all these outrageous things. But that's a small subculture of women who act just like that. But because of those women, all black women are considered to be so. You understand what I'm trying to say here? If it makes any sense. But let's keep going.
there is a heightened amount of fear. When you see the things occurring in our worlds, like what happened with George Floyd, a black man losing his life to these white police officers, when you first saw that video, what went through your mind?
I mean, I felt sick. It's difficult to have to show up and know that we get paid to do this, and then having to see what people see on TV, and they don't necessarily see the person, they just see the uniform, and they associate that with us. So every time I see something like that, I know that I'm about to get bombarded by phone calls and text messages about why did this happen, what's going on.
Ryan, let me go to you. Is there enough accountability in the police force when mistakes happen? Are they held responsible?
That's tough to answer on a national standpoint. I mean, if you look at George Floyd incident, that officer was terminated, arrested, charged like immediately, which I think is appropriate, right? So in that regard, obviously it's a tragic incident, and you hope that that doesn't happen. I would say that just generally speaking, yeah, there probably is some issues with officer accountability throughout the country.
What does justice look like to you in these situations?
I think justice looks like decisive and equal punishment. The issue at hand, I feel like, is that the punishment for officers doesn't necessarily match the crime. If
I agree. That's one of the biggest issues that we have. A cop can do some things and they get administrative leave, or they get relocated, reassigned and stuff a lot of time. They get away with a whole lot of wrongdoing. And that's one of the reasons why black people have a hard time trusting the police. On the side of their cars, they say that they are here to serve and to protect, but it looks more like they are here to injure and harm, unfortunately. Now, a lot of them are not like that, like I say. And I'm going to keep saying that because I'm going to have somebody come in there screaming, "Hotel, I'm pro-black and all this." I'm pro-human being, okay? I'm pro everybody should be equal, okay? I don't take up for ignorance on either side, okay? This is something I feel is needed so that we can understand each other's point of view, and hopefully we can avoid situations like what we just seen with what's his name? George Floyd, was it Sonia Massey? We need to have these uncomfortable conversations, and we got to take our feelings and our egos out of it if you want to see your sisters, you want to see your children grow up in a world where this isn't so prevalent. We're in 2024, and we still seeing some of the same shit they saw in the 60s when it comes to police brutality and from us losing our lives for nothing. So we need to, I'm not saying march. I'm not saying march at all. I'm not into that. You know what I mean? Because we don't marched enough. It's time for us to do something else. And I'm not going to go on to all that, but it's something that we need to do to kind of force the hand. Because, you know, America was built on revolutions anyway. You wouldn't even have this country if it wasn't for revolutions, you know what I mean? The Boston Tea Party and all this stuff like that. It was a bunch of people who said, we have had enough of this, so this is the actions that we're going to take. And I'm not talking about violence, but these are the actions that we must take in order for you to recognize us in our humanity. And I think that is the thing. Those are the things that we have to do as a community. And make no mistake, this is not only restricted to black people. This also goes into the Latino neighborhoods and other minorities out there. So we need to have this conversation. We need to address these issues in order to overcome them. Let's keep going.
you are caught in a doctor's office and there's malpractice and someone dies, don't be disbarred. It's not like, well, I need to know this, I need to know that. It doesn't fit. Whereas instantly, especially right now, when we see so many things going on with excessive force over black people, we're instantly like, well, look at his criminal history. Well, he didn't graduate from college. Well, he lied back in 7th grade. It instantly goes to character defamation. Let's see if we can protect the people in the badge. So justice for me just looks like a punishment that fits the crime, because there's always that phrase, who's going to police the police? And right now the answer has been no one. Brendan, when you see a life or death situation occurred, a death situation occurred on the job, how hard is that to recover from? Whether it's just your knowledge of someone who may have been involved, or if you've personally been involved, how hard is that to recover from emotionally, psychologically?
It is incredibly difficult to recover from. Even from that standpoint, I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been in situations, not obviously identical to that, but similar. That's never, ever going to leave their mind. It's going to change the outcome of everything they do from this point on. I mean, there are situations where we'll arrest people and they'll die later, and you still, it's your attachment. You brought them to this point, and from my own personal incidents, it's changed me for the duration of my life. I don't ever see it going back.
Interesting, right? Now, let's also discuss the fact that some, how can I say it? Sometimes when they have to delete somebody may be justified, justifiable homicide and stuff like that. As a military man, I know that people who actually went to military, they took the lives of the enemy, and it was considered to be justified because they're, doing what. We got to get into all these touchy type of issues because sometimes, man, it's necessary. Now, when I say it's necessary, I'm not talking about a white on black. I'm talking about a person on person. Because if somebody was, excuse me, my neck bothered me. If someone was to come to my house and break in my house and I get to my weapon and I have to take them out because it's me or them, it's justified. What I'm saying is there are certain actions that can bring about the death of a person. It just is. Now, lately, a lot of times, man, they're just wiping black people out, and I don't like that. I don't respect it at all, and I don't think there's no reason for it. That's why I say, instead of me just coming in and bashing people, I want to try to provide a solution, and my solution is dialogue. Will people receive that? Not all of them. Some of them will. Even some people who watch my video are going to get irate and mad and say, look, no. And hey, that's your right. But to all those people who say that shit, my question is, what are you doing to fix it? What solutions are you doing or making? You know what I mean? So it got to start somewhere, man. You know what I mean? Because I don't know about you, but I'm sick or tired of seeing black women and black brothers, black men and black women lose their lives over petty shit and for policemen to get free. Nothing happened to them. I'm tired of that. Okay? And I'm going to tell you something that's going to mess your head up too. There are some policemen who are tired of that too. Because the policemen who are not doing these things, they are suffering behind the bad apples. You get what I'm saying? The ones who actually, I grew up with someone who became a state trooper, and I know him. He ain't no bad person. He's a cop. But the thing is, because of what has happened to so many people by policemen, they don't see him, like the gentleman said before, they only see that uniform. And that uniform brings negativity out the bat. You get what I'm saying? So we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it. Because I want to find a way to protect our young daughters, our young men, our black men, and our black women in our community. Okay, we got to find a way to do something. We got to do something. Because what happened to that Massey lady was uncalled for. That was just uncalled for, in my most humble opinion. Well, anyway, you let me know what you think about this. This will be the last video today. My allergies gotten better, thank God. And I got some errands to run today. So you let me know what you think about this. And I don't know if this got y'all triggered tonight. Probably did. I don't know, somebody. I wonder if a musty back heifer got mad. All right, y'all take it easy now, you hear?